jumps with my humour as well as waiting in the court, I can tell you.
For obtaining of suits?
Yea, for obtaining of suits, whereof the hangman hath no lean wardrobe. 'Sblood, I am as melancholy as a gib-cat or a lugged bear.
Or an old lion, or a lover's lute?
Yea, or the drone of a Lincolnshire bagpipe.
What sayest thou to a hare, or the melancholy of Moorditch?
Thou hast the most unsavoury similes, and art indeed the most comparative, rascalliest, sweet young prince. But, Hal, I prithee, trouble me no more with vanity. I would to God thou and I knew where a commodity of good names were to be bought. An old lord of the council rated me the other day in the street about you, sir, but I mocked him not, and yet he talked very wisely. But I regarded him not, and yet he talked wisely, and in the street too.
Thou didst well, for wisdom cries out in the streets, and no man regards it.
Oh, thou hast damnable iteration, and art indeed able to corrupt a saint. Thou hast done much harm upon me, Hal. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee, Hal, I knew nothing, and now am I, if a man should speak truly, little better than one of the wicked. I must give over this life, and I will give it over, by the Lord, and I do not. I am a villain. I'll be damned for never a king's son in Christendom.
Where shall we take a purse tomorrow, Jack?
Sounds, where thou wilt, lad. I'll make one, and I do not, call me a villain and baffle me.
I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse-taking.
Why, Hal, 'tis my vocation, Hal. 'Tis no sin for a man to labour in his vocation.
Enter Poins.
Points! Now shall we know if Gadsill have set a match. Oh, if men were to be saved by merit, what hole in hell were hot enough for him? This is the most omnipotent villain that ever cried stand to a true man.
Good morrow, Ned.
Good morrow, sweet Hal. What says Monsieur Remorse? What says Sir John Jack and Sugar? Jack, how agrees the devil and thee about thy soul, that thou soldest him on Good Friday last for a cup of Madeira and a cold captain's leg?
Sir John stands to his word. The devil shall have his bargain, for he was never yet a breaker of proverbs. He will give the devil his due.
Then thou art damned for keeping thy word with the devil.
Else he had been damned for cozening the devil.
But lads, my lads, tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock, early at Gad's Hill, there are pilgrims coming to Canterbury with rich offerings and traders riding to London with fat purses. I have vizards for you all, and you have horses for yourselves. Gad's Hill lies tonight in Rochester. I have bespoke supper tomorrow night at Eastcheap. We may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry at home and be hanged.
Hear ye, Edward, if I tarry at home and go not, I'll hang you for going.
You will, chops.
Hal, wilt thou make one?
Who, I rob? I a thief? Not I, by my faith.
Oh, there's neither honesty, manhood, nor good fellowship in thee, nor thou camest not of the blood royal. If thou darest not stand for 10 shillings.
Well then, once in my days I'll be a madcap.
Why, that's well said.
Well, come what will, I'll tarry at home.
By the Lord, I'll be a traitor then, when thou art king.
I care not.
Sir John, I prithee, leave the prince and me alone. I will lay him down such reasons for this adventure that he shall go.
Well, God give thee the spirit of persuasion, and him the ears of profiting, that what thou speakest may move, and what he hears may be believed, that the true prince may, for recreation's sake, prove a false thief, for the poor abuses of the time want countenance. Farewell, you shall find me in Eastcheap.
Farewell the latter spring, farewell all Hallown summer.
Exit Falstaff.
Now, my good, sweet, honey lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a jest to execute that I cannot manage alone, Falstaff, Bardolph, Petzel, and Gadshill shall rob those men we have already waylaid. Yourself and I will not be there, and when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off my shoulders.
How shall we part with them in setting forth?
Why, we will set forth before or after them, and appoint them a place of meeting, wherein it is at our pleasure to fail, and when they will adventure upon the exploit themselves, which they shall have no sooner achieved but will set upon them.
Yea, but 'tis like that they will know us by our horses, by our habits, and by every other appointment to be ourselves.
Tut! Our horses they shall not see, I'll tie them in the wood. Our vizards we will change after we leave them, and, sirrah, I have cases of buckram for the nonce, to amask our noted outward garments.
Yea, but I doubt they will be too hard for us.
Well, for two of them, I know them to be as true-bred cowards as ever turn back. And for the third, if he fights longer than he shows reason, I'll forswear arms. The virtue of this jest will be the incomprehensible lies this same fat rogue will tell us when we meet at supper. How 30 at least he fought with, what wards, what blows, what extremities he endured. And in the reproof of this lies the jest.
Well, I'll go with thee. Provide us all things necessary, and meet me tomorrow night in Eastcheap. There I'll sup. Farewell.
Farewell, my lord.
Exit Poins.
I know you all, and will a while uphold the unyoked humour of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that, when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at, by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapours that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleaseth but rare accidents. So, when this loose behaviour I throw off, and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes, and like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering over my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. I'll so offend, making offence a skill, redeeming time when men think least I will.
Exit. Scene 3. London. The Palace. Enter the King, Northumberland, Worcester, Hotspur, Sir Walter Blunt, with others.
My blood hath been too cold and temperate, unapt to stir at these indignities, and you have found me, for accordingly you tread upon my patience. But be sure I will from henceforth rather be myself, mighty and to be feared, than my condition, which hath been smooth as oil, soft as young down, and therefore lost that title of respect which the proud soul ne'er pays but to the proud.
Our house, my sovereign liege, little deserves the scourge of greatness to be used on it, and that same greatness too which our own hands have holp to make so portly.
My lord.
Worcester, get thee gone, for I do see danger and disobedience in thine eye. O sir, your presence is too bold and peremptory, and majesty might never yet endure the moody frontier of a servant brow. You have good leave to leave us. When we need your use and counsel, we shall send for you.
Exit Worcester.
You were about to speak.
To North.
Yea, my good lord, those prisoners in your highness' name demanded, which Harry Percy here at Holmdon took, were, as he says, not with such strength denied as is delivered to your majesty. Either envy, therefore, or misprision, is guilty of this fault, and not my son.
My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, came there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped, showed like a stubble-landed harvest home. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his